How's it going, YouTube? This is Graphology here, bringing you a TU15 Division 2 video. This one is going to be covering some of the basic builds you need to have in order to do any endgame content. This is strictly for the rating, so Dark Hours and Iron Horse, which have been out for, at least a year or two now. Dark Hours longer. So let's get right into it. So the first build I have is actually going to be showing the survivalist. This really doesn't matter for this build. A red build can be gunner, it can be survivalist, it could be demo. It's really your preference, whatever you want to do for specialization. The key points to note are the actual gear set. So you want to have either 3 pieces of Providence for the set bonuses here for crit hit chance, crit hit damage. You want to roll all red weapon damage, crit hit damage, and crit hit chance. And this piece could technically be a Gruppo, so any of these province could also be a Gruppo. This right here should be a sacrifice if you can get it. If you don't want to run sacrifice, if you're a newer player and you don't want to have that amplified 30% damage but take 60% damage, then by all means you can switch it out for a Providence or a Gruppo salvo. Obliterate. Chain Killer also kind of works, but I would go with Obliterate just to be safe. All right, this is a crit build, so run Obliterate if you're not comfortable kind of being like a glass cannon. All right, and in raids, most people would appreciate that too. If you're dying a lot in the raid and you're down a lot, then switch out to Obliterate instead of this glass cannon. You want to run Vigilance on your backpack. I have a Seska backpack for the crit hit chance. Again, you can farm the gift. It's a Providence backpack, same effect. So really it's your preference, but definitely go Vigilance here. Some people do run Concussion, I believe, which is the headshot variant. It's not as effective, but if you get steady headshots, then go for it, all by all means. Contractor's gloves, Fox prayers, all right. You can look up how to get those as well online or whatnot. Weapons, the main weapons should be an AR, all right, any variant of AR, but the key thing to note is strained on it, all right. For your secondary weapon, you should have a rifle, M1A, any type of M1A variant is fine. If you get a Baker's Dozen, this works. You can also go with an M1A and Rifleman. I don't know if I have that on here. I think I just have In Sync, which is fine. But yeah, I would go Rifleman as that, or a Baker's Dozen. The pistol doesn't really matter with this build as much. I would use a shield, even though they got nerfed. The shields are still really good along with Vigilance. If you have to go from cover to cover in this game, Crusader Shield still works just fine. And always run a Reviver Hive with this build as well, so that your team doesn't have to constantly be taking you back up or getting you revived, all right? So this is the simple red build. Now, the second build that I want to go into is actually going to be this same setup, but the only difference is you got to be able to farm once you get the Ravenous. So we're going to do 2 things here. We're going to switch to Ravenous, and we're going to switch to the Dodge City Holster. Now, what this becomes is it becomes a weak point Devastator on Razorback. So if you're doing Dark Hours Razorback, this build right here, you are ad control, you are weak point damage breakers. So essentially what would happen is you would stick this Ravenous on. You would do, I'm just going to go over the gun range for a second. So you would have the Ravenous, you would be on this side, you would do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you would shoot once over here. That would put a debuff on the target on the weak point. You want to do that 2 times, so like when the weak points come out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, switch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, switch. Pull out your pistol, 1 shot, boom. You'd get a crit for about anywhere from 80 to 100 mil, depending on your crit and all that, crit damage. But it essentially will take out those weak points in 1 hit, all right? So, and you got Survivalist for the break on the Inner Circle if you're on Inner Circle with Razorback, all right? So that's why you go Survivalist with this build. You can also run variants like Sharpshooter, Gunner, that's fine. But just know for Razorback, you want to run Survivalist with this so that you can pull out your crossbow, shoot the vent on Razorback either front or back, throw the grenade in, it'll immediately get those weak points to pop up, and then you do the weak point rotation like I just showed you. All right. The next build that every raider should probably have at this point would be a healing build. So this is my variant of a healer build. I like to run with Sweet Dreams because, you know, healers, ultimately, you're not going to get too much damage out of your weapons. So a Sweet Dreams automatically kills a veteran or a red guy. So if you just see them running by, boom, dead. All right. Otherwise, you're just worried about more keeping the group alive. So you're going to run the 4-piece Future Initiative. As you can see here, I rolled this so that I've got Hazard Protect in all my secondary. That's not necessary. That's for essentially if you're doing Pfizer, the room upstairs, which control room the healer usually does solo. That's just for extra padded damage reduction. By all means, if you want to do skill repair, you can do that as well, or skill haste. Be my guest. I'm not going to offend you for it. But you always want to go 6 skill tier, BTSU gloves with Future Initiatives. All right. My backpack, I like to run Opportunistic. I got one with Perfect Opportunistic and Skill Repair. That's what you're seeing. Any backpack with a skill tier and Opportunistic is fine. It will amplify everything you shoot with a marksman rifle or a shotgun for, what is it, 10 or 5 seconds, I believe. Yeah, 5 seconds. Amplified 15% for your entire group. So this is really nice to run on, say, fights like the first boss in Iron Horse, where the boss is just standing there. If you're not going to do the one-shot nego, you just fire, you know, a shot every so often with your G28 semi-auto, and the boss takes 15% more damage from everybody. So it's just an easy buff for the entire raid. I use Reformation on my pistol because, you know, you can switch to your pistol and get that extra healing with Reformation. All right. For the abilities, I'm using a Repair Hive or Restorer Hive for the heals, along with a Chem Launcher Reinforcer. All right. All right. So that's that build. That's the healing build for most fights. Next one that would be kind of recommended to have. It's not a necessary, but there should be one of these in every Dark Hours run. Is going to be the Drone Killer. So the Drone Killer is a solely built for handling the drones out of Razorback during the burn phase on Razor. All right. And this guy, if you have this build set up, you can essentially do 4 or 5 waves of drones without anybody else having to worry about drones. So you want to, I run with a Ravenous as my primary. I've seen people use Scorpio. That's perfectly fine. If you have a Scorpio, you can run Scorpio with this as well. It's not necessary, but you know, you can do it. It's perfectly fine. 4-piece Hardwire with a Sacrifice rerolled. Now this could be any piece that's got a skill tier with Glass Cannon. All right. The key thing is Glass Cannon, because that Glass Cannon will allow you with the 6 skill tier to one-shot the drones that come out on a fully charged Jammer Pulse. All right. So the key thing here is Jammer Pulse. All right. You're running it with Hardwire. I've got a Resto Hive so that I can drop that. With Hardwire, it will reset my pulse for the second round of drones. You charge it up again, kill the drones again. If I need a third or fourth, I've got the BTSUs with the Hive that I can reset. It will give me a Resto Hive reset. And then you can handle another 2 things of drones if need be. The Ravenous is solely for stacking that damage buff on the weak points. So that's why I run with the Ravenous there. All right. And then really the only other build that I'm going to show you guys that's probably necessary to have, and it's with the new set. It's a Heartbreaker variant, and I tell you right now, I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna show you guys the damage with this thing, because a lot of people run Heartbreaker with 3 or 4 blues and they get the defense up. That's all great. You guys are hitting for, like, I'm sure 700k to 1 million maybe a shot. I want to show you guys what it's capable of doing. So just to go back to this build, I re-rolled all my Heartbreakers to weapon damage in the core stat, okay? I've got the chest piece, and then I've got a Seska backpack. Now, the Seska backpack can be Vigilance, it can be Concussion. Either of them work with Fox's Prayers, all right? And then I got the Kingbreaker. And the Kingbreaker, I re-rolled. I actually got this maxed. Damage out of cover. Perfect flat line. And I'm optimizing damage. Alright. So what you want to do is I got an AA12 as my backup because I want to get my stacks up. So watch my stacks right there. The stacks are all full. And now I'm going to switch to my Kingbreaker. And look at the damage. So I'm hitting crits for 1.9 million on armor. And then when I get to the health, I'm hitting 21. It looks like 2.1 mil a shot. And if you notice, my DPS is about 15 mil. Alright. So this will actually keep going up. I'm going to keep shooting just to show you guys. So yeah, this is what Heartbreaker chest piece does. Is it gives you that 2.7 multiplier on full stacks. And even my shotgun is hitting for a ridiculous amount right now. So yeah, that's why I'm saying Heartbreaker, it's kind of a must, especially for the newer players that don't want to run glass cannon. This is a great alternative. You go into, say, a countdown, you put your specified loot on Heartbreaker. You get Heartbreakers with critical hit chance and critical hit damage. They do not have to be maxed out. That's all you need to watch for is these 4 pieces with crit damage or crit hit chance. And get the Seska backpack with Vigilance and the Fox's Prayers. Get as close to 60% crit hit chance as you can, and then stack crit damage. Alright? There is a variant with Coyote's Mask. I'm not going to get into that in this video. But yeah, that's basically it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was, informative for the newer players that are looking to get into raiding. But yeah, these are the builds that you mainly want to focus on, alright? I wish you guys luck, and stay tuned for some other videos coming up on TU15. Alright, take it easy.